Okay, so funny story, but if quarantine didn't happen a few years back, I would probably still be in debt to my student loans. And I want to share this story because I think the lessons I learned in 2020 about hustling and capitalizing on a season could maybe inspire somebody else out there. So with that said, let me tell you the story. So I graduated college in December of 2019 and I had about $24,000 of student loans. Now, I had never been a fan of debt, and growing up I was always taught that debt is a bad thing, and as soon as you have debt, you want to pay it off as fast as you can. And all of that sounds great, but I was 21 years old and I had no idea where I was gonna get $24,000. And I saw my friends setting up payment plans for the next 20 years of their lives to pay off their student loans, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So fast forward to February of 2020. My childhood best friend, Braden, had told me that because of this new virus thing, whatever that was, SeaWorld stock was tanking. And he had never messed around with stocks or anything before, but one of his friends had told him, hey dude, SeaWorld is tanking, maybe you should buy some SeaWorld stock. Now at this point, I had never traded stocks. I had no idea what a stock was, what a share was, what a brokerage account was. I literally knew nothing. So Braden ended up making a brokerage account in March, and then he ended up buying his SeaWorld stock. Now I was pretty curious about what he was doing because I knew nothing about it, so I started educating myself. I went to the great YouTube and started learning about stocks, shares, brokerage accounts, what everything meant. And after watching a good amount of content on what everything investing was, I thought, you know, with this whole virus thing, this might actually be a good idea. So I started studying it more, and as I kept looking at the markets and watching more videos and reading more articles, I realized something. It wasn't just SeaWorld stock. The whole stock market was crashing and was way below where it was just a few weeks back. Now that's one big piece of my story, but the second big piece was that because of it was announced that student loans were going to be delayed. So we would not be getting any interest on those student loans. So for me, that was the last piece of information I needed, and I began to formulate my plan to achieve financial freedom. Because of the new time afforded to me because of student loans interest being delayed, my plan was to make $24,000 solely off of the stock market and pay my student loans off in full before ever paying $1 in interest. So at the time I was working in a restaurant, and the very first thing I did was take a look at all of my expenses and calculate what the lowest amount of money I could live off of each month was. Then I decided that every single other dollar I made would be invested in the stock market. So at this time, I only had about $4,000 saved up, and that was everything. But I put all of it in the stock market. Legit, all of it. The only thing I kept in my bank account was about $50 so I wouldn't get charged the monthly fee. So then I began the process of researching and finding out what stocks I was going to buy. So because of the pandemic, all stock prices were so incredibly low, so I began looking for quality companies that I believed had a chance to bounce back. I invested in Apple, Microsoft, Delta. I did my research, and if I believed the company could recover from this, I put some money in them. During this season, I became obsessed with the stock market. I literally started waking up at 4 a.m. just so I could watch the pre-market movers and see what was happening before the stock market even opened. I watched every video I could find, I read every article I could find, and I even started reading books about trading stocks. So remember that initial $4,000? Well, after 3 months, that had already doubled. My brokerage account now had about $8,000, and here's an actual screenshot from June of 2020. And as you can see, literally everything I bought was going up. Now at this point, I realized it was working. My whole plan was working. So I kept going. I kept educating myself, I kept watching videos, and I kept reading. I realized during this point that if I fully dedicated myself to learning the stock market in this season, that would be my ticket out of debt. So I got as good as I could get. So what was the grand result of this whole dedicating myself to investing? Well, interest on my student loans was going to start in 6 months, and I paid off $24,000 in 5 months. My plan completely worked, and I was debt-free. So I wanted to share this with you because it was during that time where I realized the importance of capitalizing on a season. In Proverbs 20 verse 4, the Bible says, "The lazy man will not plow because of winter. He will beg during harvest and have nothing." So yeah, I could have sat back and said, you know what? Everybody else I know is gonna be paying these off for the next 20 years. Why don't I do that too? But instead, I saw an opportunity in what could be if I dedicated myself for a season of my life. Now, I completely disagree with hustle culture and how it says you need to be working your butt off 24/7 for the rest of your life. I disagree with that. But I do think there are seasons in your life where you do need to work your butt off 24/7 for a set amount of time. And that is what this season was for me. So I'm willing to bet that you might be in a season similar to what I was in. A season where you know that if you put 110% of your effort into one thing, it could probably change your life. I challenge you to think about what that thing is for you, and how different could your life look if you decided to dedicate yourself to that thing for this season. What if you just did it? What if you just went for it? I think so often we're so shocked when other people accomplish such great things, but we never try to accomplish them ourselves. So in February of 2021, I finished paying off all of my student loans, and I was completely broke. I had no money to my name. But the awesome thing was, because I just spent the last 5 months training myself how to invest, I very quickly was able to save up $35,000 in about 9 months. Me choosing to dedicate myself to learning how to invest during a season is going to pay dividends literally throughout the rest of my life. If I never tried, I am like 99% sure that I would still be in debt. So if you get anything out of this video, I want you to get that, yes, I know it's scary to fully dedicate yourself to something, but you will never know what could have happened if you don't try. All right, thank you so much for watching. I actually made a video talking about the exact habits I used to save $35,000 in 9 months. So click this video right over here if you're interested in how I did that or the strategies I used. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you like videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time.